You're doing it right now. Not this video, before this video. In the 30 seconds before you pressed play, or the hour before that, or the entire afternoon that somehow disappeared into nothing you could point to. You were bored. Not tired, not sad, not busy with something else. Just unreachable. Present in your life but absent from it. Surrounded by things you could do. Unable to want any of them. You picked up your phone, put it down, picked it up again, opened something, closed it, stared at a wall that had nothing interesting on it, and stared at it anyway. And at some point, without fully deciding to, you ended up here. Here's what nobody tells you about that feeling. You have access to more stimulation than any human being in the history of the species. Every song ever recorded, every film ever made, every conversation, every piece of knowledge, every form of entertainment humanity has ever produced, available to you, instantly, for free, in the device you carry in your pocket. And you were bored, not because there was nothing to do, because nothing felt worth doing. Because your brain, surrounded by infinite options, somehow produced the specific and miserable sensation of having none. This is not a modern problem. It is not a symptom of too much screen time, or too little exercise, or not enough purpose. It is one of the oldest and strangest features of the human mind, a feature that exists in no other species on Earth. Not in chimps, not in dolphins, not in crows, who are among the most cognitively sophisticated animals alive. Not in elephants, who grieve and remember and solve problems that require planning. No other animal gets bored, not the way you do. And the reason why is one of the most uncomfortable and most illuminating things evolutionary biology has ever uncovered about what the human brain actually is. Ingratitude. Let's start with what boredom actually feels like, not what causes it, but what it is as a physical experience. Boredom is not the absence of stimulation. You can be bored in a noisy room, at a party you chose to attend, surrounded by people you like. Boredom is not tiredness. You can be bored after a full night of sleep, with more energy than you know what to do with. Boredom is not sadness, though it can shade into it. Boredom is a very specific signal. It is the sensation of having attention available, and nothing worthy of it. Your brain is running at some level of alertness and engagement, and whatever is in front of you is not meeting the threshold. Not interesting enough, not challenging enough, not novel enough, not meaningful enough. The signal is uncomfortable by design. It is supposed to be uncomfortable, because it is an instruction. In 2014, psychologists at the University of Virginia ran one of the strangest experiments in the history of behavioral science. They put participants in a room, alone, with no phone, no books, no distractions of any kind, and asked them to sit with their thoughts for 15 minutes. That was it. Just sit. Most people hated it. Some described it as genuinely distressing. And in a follow-up version of the study, participants were given the option to give themselves a mild electric shock, a shock they had already described as unpleasant, rather than continue sitting in silence. 2/3 of men chose the shock, a quarter of women chose it too. People chose mild pain over the experience of being alone with their own minds for 15 minutes. Not because they were strange, or disturbed, or unusually sensitive. Because the experience of having idle attention, of being bored, is for the human brain genuinely intolerable, in a way that physical discomfort is not. Why would a brain be built this way? Here's the answer that changes everything. Your brain is the most energetically expensive organ in the known universe relative to its size. It consumes 20% of your body's total energy, while accounting for only 2% of your body weight. And it runs at essentially full power whether you're solving a complex problem or staring at a wall. This is wildly inefficient. Evolution does not tolerate inefficiency without a reason. The reason is that the human brain was not built to process the present moment. It was built to simulate futures, model other minds, anticipate threats, plan sequences of events that haven't happened yet, and construct an internal narrative that connects all of these into something coherent. This is what made humans dominant, not strength, not speed, not even language alone. The ability to run mental simulations of situations that don't exist yet, to rehearse, to predict, to model cause and effect across time, is the cognitive capacity that separated human beings from every other species on the planet. But that capacity requires something that no other animal on Earth has in the same quantity. Spare processing power. Attention that is not currently committed to immediate survival, to finding food, evading predators, managing the urgent demands of the physical world, is attention that can be used to think ahead, to plan, to imagine. Boredom is what happens when your brain detects that it has spare processing power and nothing is using it. The signal is, this capacity is sitting idle, that is a waste, find something worthy of it. In the ancient world, that signal was useful beyond measure. An ancestor who felt genuinely restless when there was no immediate task, who couldn't tolerate the sensation of idle mental capacity, was an ancestor who kept exploring, kept experimenting, kept building and solving and inventing past the point of immediate necessity. Boredom is the engine of human curiosity, the discomfort that drove your ancestors past the next hill, into the next valley, toward the next question that didn't need to be asked but got asked anyway. Every piece of art, every scientific discovery, every technological invention in human history began with someone who had spare attention and couldn't leave it alone. But here is the part that nobody talks about, and this is where it gets genuinely strange. The same capacity that makes boredom productive in the right environment makes it unbearable in the wrong one. Your ancestors' spare processing power was rare. It happened in the gaps between survival tasks, after the hunt, before the next threat, in the brief spaces where the immediate world had nothing urgent to demand. Those gaps were small. The boredom they produced was acute and quickly resolved, by exploration, by storytelling, by the kind of social bonding that filled the cognitive space with genuine meaning. Modern life has inverted this entirely. You are no longer spending most of your mental capacity on survival. The food is there, the shelter is there, the physical threats are, for most people reading this, largely absent. Your brain's survival systems are running below capacity for most of your waking hours, which means the spare processing power is no longer rare, it is constant. You are bored not because your life is empty but because your brain's enormous simulation capacity has nothing proportionate to simulate. Nothing is threatening enough to demand full attention. Nothing is novel enough to absorb it. The tasks of modern life, important, necessary, real, do not require the full cognitive resources of a brain built to model the future, navigate complex social hierarchies, and solve problems that haven't been invented yet. And so the signal runs continuously. Find something worthy of this. Use this capacity. This is too much to waste. The tragedy is that we have spent the last century building an entire industry around providing cheap substitutes, stimulation that feels like engagement without requiring the depth of attention that would actually satisfy the signal. Scroll for 20 minutes, feel nothing. Watch something forgettable, feel nothing. Check the phone again, feel nothing. The signal doesn't go away, because the signal isn't asking for more stimulation, it's asking for more meaning. So the next time you find yourself unable to settle, the next time you pick up your phone and put it down 3 times in a row without finding what you were looking for, because you don't know what you were looking for, remember this: your boredom is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is not laziness, or ingratitude, or an inability to enjoy things. It is the most distinctly human sensation there is, the feeling of a brain that was built to do more than the present moment is asking of it. You were built for a world that demanded everything you had. You live in a world that asks for much less, and the gap between what your brain was built to do and what it is currently being asked to do, that gap is boredom. It is not a problem to be solved with more stimulation. It is a signal pointing toward the thing that would actually use you. That's what this channel is. Every week, one thing about being human that feels like a flaw, revealed as exactly the thing evolution intended.